I can't speak for the President of the United States. He runs his shop, I run mine. But I'll tell you this. Bankers are more dependable than governments. We don't lie to ourselves. We can't afford to. Isn't that right, Hub?
I'd like to think so.
We've just been joined by a most distinguished banker. About 20 years ago, he sat where you are, drinking in my words with the same skepticism that I see on some of your faces.
How do you account for the fact that for 30 years after the Depression, there hasn't been a single major bank failure? Now there's practically one every 18 months. Herstatt in Germany, Franklin National, yeah.
The international character of banking today makes everyone vulnerable to everything. Somebody sneezes in Zurich, we say Gesundheit in New York. The important thing to realize is that everything is interconnected. We're all in this together. This is Hub Smith of Borough National.
Oh, Professor Akins, it's a pleasure.
Will you excuse us for a few minutes? I'll catch up with you later. Well, you're a surprise. People will start talking about us, fella. What are you doing?
As a matter of fact, right now I'm trying to keep my temper. See, after that little flutter we had at Borough National yesterday, there was one Saudi Eurodollar deposit that didn't roll over. It was transferred instead to First New York. So I went over and had a little talk with your computer about that stray $5 million. Set me up, Max. You didn't want me to save Borough National. You just wanted me to keep them afloat long enough for you to siphon off that Arab money. You've been doing it for months.
Is that a fact?
Don't dance with me, Max. You have 21214 listed as a foreign exchange account. But you don't buy other currency with those dollars, you buy gold. But you have to do it slowly, because if anybody finds out what's going on, the dollar will drop and all the Saudi investments over here won't be worth shit.
You're being a little wild and woolly here, aren't you, fella? There have been some perfectly normal transactions that wouldn't raise an eyebrow anywhere.
Borough National is just the tip of the iceberg, isn't it, Max? I checked the inflows in 21214. There are billions coming in on a regular basis from Arab and OPEC accounts you control in at least 15 other banks. You're moving the Arabs into gold. You're taking them out of the dollar.
That isn't a crime. It isn't against the law. It isn't even a conspiracy. Just a routine banking operation. And if we didn't handle it, they'd find a lot of other people who would.
God damn it, Max, you don't just do this on your own. You go to the control of the currency, the Federal Reserve Board, the Secretary of the Treasury. You call the president, for Christ's sake.
And start a real panic? Have you ever seen anyone in government who could keep his mouth shut about anything for 5 minutes? Go ahead, call the Treasury. Call the controller, but if you do, I'll tell you what's going to happen. When the Arabs learn that word of what they've been doing is out, they may panic. Move a big chunk of funds too fast or the wrong way. Really destabilize the monetary markets. Then the dollar will collapse. Whereupon there'll be a lot of jawboning by the president, and that won't work. Then they'll go to selling gold, and that won't work either. Then they'll have to go to capital controls, freeze foreign assets, stop any money from going in or out, and that will be the end of all the markets. That'll really be the finish. Then you'll see a worldwide depression that'll make the 1930s look like a kindergarten. In 2 months, you'll have bread lines in Detroit, riots in Pittsburgh. In 6 months, you'll see grass right over Rodeo Drive, and Michigan Boulevard, and Fifth Avenue, and I won't have done it, Hub. You will. All because you tried to stop a movement that couldn't be stopped anyway. Listen to me, Hub. Money, capital, has a life of its own. It's a force of nature, like gravity, like the oceans. It flows where it wants to flow. This whole thing with the Arabs and gold is inevitable. We're just going with the tide. The only question is whether you want to let it go like an unguided missile and raise hell, or whether you want to keep it in the hands of responsible people. Keep it channeled. Keep it quiet. Believe me, Hub, the dollar will hold. Believe me. The system will be fine, providing nobody panics. I'm looking at you, Hub.